Today I'm going to show you how to change the oil on your Husqvarna Norden 901. It's going to be the same process for the KTM 790s and 890s as well. Now you should do the break-in service at 620 miles, and then after that you're going to change the oil at least every 9,300 miles. You can change it more often if you want to. It's pretty simple to do, so let's go ahead and get started. To get this done, we have a Tusk oil change kit. Comes with the right amount of oil and the correct viscosity, your oil filter, a funnel, all the O-rings for those drains, and the oil filter cover. Now, other than that, we're using some contact cleaner. I've got a measuring cup, drain pan, safety glasses, rubber gloves, rags. Now, as far as tools go, there's some things that you have to have and some things that are nice to have. So the have stuff is an 8 and 13 millimeter socket along with a torque wrench. What's nice to have is these snap ring pliers. They're going to help remove our old oil filter. And then we've got an aftermarket skid plate, so we have a few additional tools. Now over at the bike, we're going to take the skid plate off, but before you do that, there's one vent hose that is attached to it. So we're going to pull that out. Now we can remove the skid plate. You just want to remove the hardware that holds the center plate in place. Now we have an aftermarket plate, so the process might look a little bit different than yours, but the two sides that attach, you don't need to remove the hardware from because those are going to pull straight down. Now we're going to place the drain pan underneath the two drain bolts and our oil filter cover. I'm going to clean these off before I remove them. That's just going to keep dirt from getting anywhere. We don't want it. I've got my 13 millimeter T-handle. I'm going to remove both of these drain bolts. They're going to have screens on them as well. I've got the 8 millimeter T for the oil filter cover. I'm going to use some pliers to pull that off. And I'm just going to use those snap ring pliers by that relief valve to help pull that oil filter out. Now I'm going to remove the O-rings from the oil filter cover as well as both of those screens and drain bolts. After that, you want to clean everything up really well and pay attention to those screens and make sure there's nothing that's caught in there. And if it is, get it cleaned off. We're also going to clean all of our sealing surfaces. Now with everything clean, we can go ahead and reinstall those O-rings. Just make sure you have some fresh oil on them when you're putting them in place. Then on the oil filter, I'm going to make sure we have some oil on that grommet. So from here, I'm going to install it grommet side in. We'll press it into place. After that, you want to install the oil filter cover. I find that slightly rotating it helps that O-ring find its place. I'm going to install these bolts and torque them to 4.4 foot-pounds. After that, I'm going to install the drain plugs and screens. We're going to torque those to 14.8 foot-pounds. And we're going to wipe off any residual oil and go to the other side and fill this up. Now we've got this oil fill cap on the clutch cover. I'm going to wipe it down. I'll remove it, clean that sealing surface, and then I'm going to pour in 2.8 liters of oil. Next, I'm going to run the bike for a minute and check for any leaks. Once I shut it off, I'm going to wait 1 or 2 minutes and then check the oil level in the sight glass. It should be 1/2 to 3/4 of the way full. So you can see ours is in the right spot, and this is with the bike level. So from here, we can go ahead and reinstall our skid plate. And to reinstall the skid plate, keep in mind you have the rubber dampers on each side that need to go up in these grooves on the tank. We've got 4 bolts in the front, 2 in the middle, and then we've got this upgraded skid plate. We have an additional mount on each side. Now to help get these rubber dampers in place, I am using a little bit of silicone spray. Now to reset the service interval, what we're gonna do is turn the key on. We're gonna hit the set button. We're gonna scroll down to settings. Now we're gonna press the up and down arrows at the same time for a couple seconds. And that's gonna allow us to reset the service intervals. So we're gonna start with miles. I'm just gonna click set. So we're gonna set ours at 4,500 miles since we do a lot of off-roading, but you can set yours to whatever you prefer. Again, that maintenance interval is 9,300 miles. So I'm just gonna click set. You wanna make sure you change this oil out at least once a year if you don't hit those miles. So we're gonna change that as well. So click on the set button. You can scroll up or down. So 12 months, we've got that set. So now we can exit out. And even though we have the Norden here, the 790s and 890s, the screen might look a little bit different, but it's still a very similar process. So that's it for the oil change on the Norden 901 and the KTM 790 and 890 motorcycles. If you need any parts for your machine, click the link in the description below. It's gonna take you over to our website. We've got all that stuff on there. And if you wanna see more helpful content like this, subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.